Kingdom. And if you're in Melbourne, Australia, get up early in the morning on Thursday and watch us at 5 a.m. Talk to you soon. Bye now. Hey, how about that for a surprise ending to the middle of that video? Not at all what I was expecting. I was playing with something while you guys were watching the video, and I shouldn't have been playing with it. Anyway, so good feedback from the chat room that the video was too small, so we'll have to have another go at that and record that again. I did. Somebody was asking earlier, how can you do what I just did? And I thought, well, why don't I just make up a little video on how to record a video? And obviously I need to do it again in order to get the sizing right. But let me show you real quickly how I was able to get that to do what I wanted it to do. See you later. Hi, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy. What you see in front of you is pretty much what looks like the default profile for VidBlaster. But if you're wondering, how do I record something without having that kind of infinity look of a camera within a camera within a camera, and that's actually what I'm doing now, what I've done is I've added some modules. Let me bring them in here. I've added a recorder module, and I've added a camera 2 module. Now my camera 2 module is a screen capture that's capturing all of this screen right here, and my recorder module is recording just what camera 2 sees. So by getting these two modules off the screen, I can record just what's over here as if it were a regular recording. So what I've done is I've set up my camera module number 2, which is a camera Roman numeral 1 module. That's a little confusing. Roman numeral 1 was kind of the original camera module and includes a screen capture feature, screen capture function. And you can see that here in the drop down. I've selected screen capture, and I've right-clicked on this and selected screen. Where is it? Capture. There we go, capture. And I've selected 16 by 9. I'm not going to do it again, but essentially that's all of this screen right here. And then in my recorder, you can see right here I'm recording, so I can't change it. But you see I've set up camera 2 as the source right here. So I'm recording whatever shows up in camera 2. And if I move camera 2 right here out of the screen, you can see it disappears here on the recorder. And as I move the recorder out of the screen, well, you can't see it anymore, but I could see that it's not there. So if you want to make a recording of how you do things in VidBlaster, go ahead and set up 2 extra modules, a camera Roman numeral 1 module and a recorder module. Set the camera module to screen capture and capture everything you want to see. Set the recorder module to use camera 2 as the source, and then drag both these modules off screen, and then you can start and stop and save your recorder like that. So that's a quick and dirty way of doing a screen instruction, and I hope that's useful to you. Hope you'll watch us live on Wednesdays, thatvidblasterguy.com. See you later. So that was how I did that, and I appreciate the feedback from the guys in the forum, in the chat, saying, "Oh, it needs to be bigger. It needs to be bigger so that we can see that." So we're going to have a go at that again and make it bigger. One of the other questions that I get, and I alluded to it in that video, and it is a little confusing. Why do we have 2 camera modules? And why are their numbering so confusing? And why can't you tell one from the other? Well, there are 2 different types of camera modules, and they're basically age. We've got the older big brother, camera module Roman numeral 1, and we've got the younger whippersnapper brother, camera module Roman numeral number 3. Camera module Roman numeral number 2, he was bad boy and he ran away, and we haven't seen him since. But the 2 camera modules kind of have different purposes. but really one of them is just older and has hanging around, and the only reason it's hanging around because it does some things that the new module doesn't do yet, and I suspect eventually it will do. The screen capture in camera module Roman numeral 1 is still there, and my understanding is, yes, Martin's mentioned it in the chat room, that a new module is promised that will take care of making that a little smoother scaling. But for right now, it will work to capture video. It will also import, or not import, but it will allow you to show an IP camera, which camera module 3, Roman numeral 3, will not do. But camera module 3, Roman numeral 3, is the new, kind of the new technology for VidBlaster, and has built into it some, what would you call it, features, I guess, functions, some characteristics of it that means that it uses less CPU cycles. And that's always been one of the criticisms of VidBlaster, is that it's a CPU hog. And so to address that, the camera 3, Roman numeral 3 module is, it comes in as kind of a lighter weight module. It still does heavy duty, but it doesn't require as much CPU usage to do that. So that's the theory. I had a third video, but the folks in chat are saying, it's too small, so we're not going to do the third video. Not gonna do that one. Let's see, since we're skipping that, there was one other question that I don't have a video about, but I did want to comment on. My good friend Kent. Kent asked some of the best questions. I love questions from Kent because they're well thought out, and he really, really wants an answer. And it just, that's the way questions ought to be. Kent wants to do a show with, a talking head show like this one, with a partner, and the partner would be coming in on Skype, and in fact, the partner would be the main speaker. And in fact, Kent might not be in the show at all. And so he would be using screen capture to capture the speaker's video, and then would be bringing the audio into the mixer. And he wants to do chroma key. Well, I guess he was going to be in it because he was going to chroma key himself, and then he was going to chroma key his friend, who was going to have a green screen behind him. And he was running out of modules. He has the Pro Edition, and he's limited to 25 modules. And he was running out of modules, wasn't going to have enough modules to do everything that he wanted to do. And so I suggested, well, why don't you let your friend purchase the home edition of VidBlaster, $195, and then he can do chroma key there, go ahead and lay his background in, and then stream that image with the background already in it. And I thought that was a great idea until I remembered that the home edition does not have the output module. That's a module that only higher editions have. So what he can't do that. He can't stream this picture to Kent because he can't put the streamer's VVD into Skype. When Skype made some changes a while back, it broke the ability for VidBlaster's streamer, when it was set to virtual video device, to be picked up as a camera in Skype. Now, the output module will be picked up as a camera in Skype. So if you've got one of the higher editions of VidBlaster, Pro or higher, you've got the output module, you can do that. But with the home edition, you can't do that. So we were, struggling with how to do that. And I said, Kent, here is an idea. And I think Kent and I have already talked about this, so this is not news to Kent. But get your buddy to, and then if you're Mike Versteeg, don't listen to any of this, because this is probably not what you want to hear. But we're trying to solve problems here. Get your buddy, if he doesn't want to spend $4.95, and if he does, send him to me and I'll help him. But if he doesn't want to spend $4.95, tell him to download the trial edition and to to set it up, and Trial Edition would include the output module. And so he could go ahead and do the chroma key on his end. It would have a VidBlaster logo down here for the trial version. It would have the VidBlaster banner right up here for the Trial Edition. But when he sends the picture on Skype and you screen capture it, screen cap that part out. And you've got all the benefits, but none of the downsides. Hey, now there's an idea worth $195. So hopefully Kent will have a go with that as his friend. And now I'm not suggesting that everybody do this. Now, give it a try, see if it works. If it works, hey, that's great. You got a great way of getting chroma key for free, and you can be on somebody else's show and have it in there. Obviously, you want to have a big enough picture so that you can do that, and that way you can have it in there. There's certainly more complicated ways to do that, but I think that might be one of the easiest ways to get a remote guest on Skype with his own chroma key in there using the VidBlaster effects module. So there's a little tip, a little freebie. Use that. Yeah, somebody said in the chat room, there goes your VP status. Yeah, I'm a VidBlaster VP. I'm an official representative of VidBlaster, I guess, and I shouldn't be telling you how to use it for free. But hey, it's a free trial. Use it, learn it, fiddle around with it. Certainly, you know, that's just one possible usage for it. You're going to find tens of thousands of reasons to use it, and you'll have to buy it, so don't worry about that. Use it for free. Bust it, break it, try it out, wear it out, do everything you can do, and use it for free. And then you'll say, you know, that doggone logo gets in the way too many times. I need to buy it. And by then you'll be an experienced user. Hey, and you won't need any tech support. You won't buy. No, I'm just kidding. In fact, I'm going to put my email address up right now. If you are a VidBlaster user and you've purchased VidBlaster from me, you get free tech support for life. Either your life or my life, whichever one ends first, I guess. But if you're not if you didn't buy VidBlaster from me and you need tech support, shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer a question for no charge. If we have to go past, a couple of emails exchanges, then I'll ask you to buy a support package, $20 for support on that problem, or $100 you get tech support for a year. I guess I can do an unlimited package to you so you could have it like you were a VidBlaster purchaser from me. But hey, if you've got the Home Edition, you want to upgrade to the Pro Edition, and you upgrade with me, then you're my customer and you get free tech support for life. And most folks don't need tech support for very long. It's that occasional thing that you just can't wrap your arms around. You can't figure out how it does it or how it works. And that's when it's nice to have somebody that you can call and talk to, and you can answer their question instead of having to post a question in a forum or something like that and hope somebody that knows what they're talking about can answer it. So anyway, Kent, that was the answer there. I know you've already got that one, and I want to hear back from you on how it did and whether it really worked out for you. But that was a freebie. That's a freebie. One of the other things I wanted to chat about here is I have been doing some experimenting, or I'm in the process of doing some experimenting with encoders. You say, now what in the world is an encoder? Well, an encoder is basically a piece of software that takes video, takes it apart, sends it over a phone line or DSL or whatever, and then it gets put back together on the other end. That's the Tom explanation of an encoder. I'm sure there are 1,000 people that can do 1,000% better explanations of that. But an encoder, remember, one man, one PC. The encoder runs on the same PC that everything else runs on. An encoder requires CPU cycles. It requires some time from the processor. So your encoder needs to be as efficient as possible in chopping up that video and sending it out. The encoder that I've used for years is Flash Media Live Encoder from Adobe, version 3.2. It was last updated in like 2010. Adobe says, hey, we're not supporting this anymore. We're not going to do anything more with it. It's an orphan product. It still works. It's probably going to work great for as long as there's people that can accept something that's intended for a flash media server. But it's also a pig in terms of CPU usage. I used to think VidBlaster was bad, and when I was using VidBlaster and Flash Media Live Encoder, I thought, oh, VidBlaster's terrible. Well, I realized Flash Media Live Encoder, it's taken 30 to 35% of the CPU cycles to encode the stream and send it out. Now, I've been able to tweak it and sometimes get it to do better than that. Let's see, what are we doing today? Let's see, processes, percentage, Flash Media Live Encoder. I'm pretty gentle on it right now. We're going like 20% of CPU is Flash Media Live Encoder. VidBlaster is 25 to 30%. And this is a Intel i7 2600K, not overclocked in any way. But when I start cramming lots of effects in there and doing replay and doing all that stuff that pushes up the CPU usage, I want to have as much CPU left over for VidBlaster as I possibly can. So I've been researching other encoders. There is an encoder out there, a command line encoder, which I'll talk about that in just a second, called FFmpeg. And basically, instead of choosing your settings from a menu, you just have to know what they are from a list. And you type it all in and like it was a DOS command, like config sys or something like that. And it allows you to stream. FFmpeg, apparently it's used as kind of the encoding engine in other pieces of software. One of those is something called Big V, V as in Victor, Big V encoder, uses FFmpeg behind the scenes. And Big V encoder has its own interface, which looks a little bit like Flash Media Live Encoder. If you're looking for that, that's at Big V Studios, which I guess is bigvstudios.com. I don't know. You can Google that as easily as I can. Another encoder, or another piece of software that has an encoder built into it, is something called Wirecast. Wirecast is one of VidBlaster's competitors. But Wirecast is different in the fact that it does have a built-in encoder. VidBlaster doesn't. VidBlaster requires Flash Media Live Encoder or another encoder in order to produce a stream that can be sent out. But Wirecast also has the capacity to take somebody else's stuff, like VidBlaster, through VVD, and encode that and send it out. So Wirecast, the folks at Telestream, have been kind enough to give me a license to their current version 4.3.1, to begin to experiment with that. So thank you to the folks at Telestream. I will have a good go at that, and I will give it an honest go. The fact that Wirecast is a competitor's product doesn't mean I'm going to be any tougher on it than I would be on VidBlaster. I mean, I'm pretty tough on VidBlaster. It also means I'm not going to give it a pass. I mean, if it doesn't make coffee, I will tell you it does not make coffee. And if it makes coffee but it's not good coffee, I'll tell you that too. So anyway, be interested to see. I'll give you the heads up if we end up doing a show where we're encoding with Wirecast. One of the features that Wirecast has, and I think FFmpeg has also, is the ability to encode the stream one time, but then send it to multiple locations. Currently, if you do that with VidBlaster through the streamer or through Flash Media Live Encoder separately, you end up with what we would call multiple instances of Flash Media Live Encoder. So each time, let's say we were going to send to Decast, and then we're also going to send to Ustream. If we did that in VidBlaster, we would be encoding twice and sending out two streams. With other programs, you encode it one time and then send it out twice. So that would mean that basically you get more efficiency in your CPU usage because you're not doing it twice. Now remember, I like to do everything on one PC. I'm going to push the limits on one PC. There are lots of guys out there that are doing tech shows and doing other shows that aren't tech where they're sending to 4 or 5 different destinations. But they're using more than one PC. In fact, they may have one PC set up just for encoding. and it's encoding it, and it's going out, maybe even multiple bit rates, maybe going out, 720, resolution 480, or less than that. And we'll look at some of that too. But the idea is, what can one guy with one PC do? And so that's the question that we're going to continue to ask and try to answer here on this show, That VidBlaster Guy. That was our encoder segment. Oh, I know, the last segment. There is a really cool, let's see if I can do a screen capture here to show you guys if I can do this real fast. Fast. Let's see how well I can do there. That's not too bad. Fast. There is a video capture card that I have reviewed here on the show before. It's the Magewell X, whatever, is that an XI006A or maybe X1006AE Pro? Anyway, basically it is a 6-port standard definition capture card. It's really pretty cool. In fact, I've got one right here. It's not very large. It can go in a low profile case, and it has, in addition to this, what looks like an old parallel port connector, it has this pigtail that has 6 different video connections and 12 audio connections on it. So you can hook up 6 cameras and get audio from all 6 of them if you wanted. Stereo audio from all 6. And I've got a couple of these left over from a project. If they have been used, that is, they've been in a PC and then they've been pulled out again, but they are in like new condition. If you are interested in one of those, they retail for $416 plus shipping. And if you're interested in buying those with some VidBlaster, we can probably do a bundle deal on you. Or if you're interested in an upgrade and you think, hey, this is a great time to throw in a capture card, I'd be happy to talk to you about that too. So VidBlaster and canned capture cards, kind of like rum and Coke. Yeah. Or if you're not a drinking kind of guy, Coke and ice. Boy, I just fumbled that one, didn't I? Sometimes late in the show, the brain just begins to shut off. It's not even funny. Anyway, well, that's too funny. So to sum up the show stuff here, thank you for the input from folks in the chat room about the videos. We'll have another go at those, making those a little bigger so that we can see, because I do want folks to have good information out there, and what better information to have than some videos from that VidBlaster guy. Let's see, encoders, we'll continue to be testing encoders and the capture card. Oh, I know, 2 things. One is the contest. Almost forgot about the contest. Coming up for November. So we'll be working on it in October. Coming up in November, I'm going to be giving away a home edition to VidBlaster every week. Every week on this show, we'll be giving away a home edition. How many Wednesdays are there in November? I hope there are only 4. Oh my goodness, could there be 5? Let me check here real quick. Wednesday. Whew. There are only 4. Anyway, there are only 4. I'll be giving away a home edition to VidBlaster, the $195 package, or if you want to upgrade your existing version, I'll give you $195 in credit towards the next one. And here's the deal. I want you to make a video. This is going to be so much fun. I want you to make a video of a prototype for a show. Could be a talking head show, could be a sports show, could be a church show, could be some kind of show, and it needs to be more than 30 seconds in length, but not more than 5 minutes. And use VidBlaster, and if you already own VidBlaster, that's great, and if you don't, download and get the trial edition and use it, but you must limit yourself to 7 modules. That's the mount that's in the home edition. Now, if you're using the trial edition, you can use modules that don't appear in the home edition. I'm not going to split hairs on that one. But you are limited to 7 modules because that's the home edition limit. 7 modules. So whatever you do, use 7 modules. Now, you can get creative. You can swap modules out, kind of hot swap them during the middle of a show if you want to. So play with that. And then I want you to upload it to your YouTube channel. If you don't have a YouTube channel, go ahead and create one. And then if you would, make it an unlisted video. That way it's there and you can send me the URL to it, but not everybody gets to watch it yet. And I'll evaluate them. And then I'm not quite sure exactly how we're going to pick the winner, whether we're going to, pick, the best. We might pick the best 10 and then just draw one out of a hat every week or something like that. So, if it's not good stuff, you're not going to make it into the hat. But if it's pretty good stuff, you'll make it into the hat. And so we may announce all of the possible winners there in advance. And you can continue to submit different entries during the course of November. So this ought to be a lot of fun, something to do for in preparation for Thanksgiving. So VidBlaster contest coming up in November. Work on it in October. You can use as many people as you want to. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff, but you're limited to 7 modules. 7 modules. And it's got to be recorded in VidBlaster. Can't record it in a different software. So there'll be details. Don't have the details on the website yet about that, but we'll have details on the website about that real soon. That vidblasterguide.com. And then just a quick note, somebody in the chat room was asking about the C930 webcams. We did kind of conclude that for the most part in last week's show, but since last week's show was somewhat lost, even though that segment wasn't, basically the bottom line was I had 2 C930s. I wanted to see if I could get those to play nice together. I was able to get them to work with full frame rate at 1080p. That was really, really good. And then I was not able to get them to respond to their utility software. So you could not change the zoom or the exposure or the white balance in one of the cameras. Whichever camera was recognized first by the PC, that one you could change everything in. You could zoom and pan and tilt and all that stuff. But you could not do that with the second camera. Even if you set up the software and told it you were using the second camera and it said, hey, I'm using the second camera, and you made all those adjustments, they showed up on the first camera. So not sure if that's something that Logitech can fix. My guess is since this camera was not really aimed at the consumer market, it was aimed kind of at the enterprise market, that probably is not going to be an issue. Another interesting thing about this camera is it didn't come with any drivers. It uses the kind of the innate webcam generic driver that's in Windows. So in some ways it becomes more bulletproof because it now goes straight to Windows and uses that. Continue to be a fan of the Logitech C920. If I were given a choice between the 930 and the 920, I'd say from my perspective, they're indistinguishable. Buy the one that you can get the cheapest. If two things are exactly the same, then it's just a matter of price. If the quality is different, then you have to decide is this quality worth more and this quality worth less. But if the quality is the same, get the cheaper one. I have played with these a while, but I have not been able to make the C930 do that super widescreen thing. So maybe that's the one benefit that it would offer that the others don't offer. So that's the update on the C930. I think that covers it for today. It's been a real treat to be with you guys today. And for those of you that watch live, I appreciate your patience and loved your comments in the chat room. It's always great to have folks come in the chat and make the chat a lot more fun. If you're watching us live, stick around. We're going to do a little post show here in just a minute. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, you need to come live so that you can stick around for the after show. We have cake and hats and streamers and balloons. It's just lots of fun. Not really, but anyway. Anyway, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy. I hope you'll join us again next week when we say one guy, one PC, one awesome broadcast, or something like that. Stick around.